Good evening and welcome to a new episode of our program, The Daily Debate. It's Wednesday evening. I'm Yasmin Bakir, and I'd like to wish all our Egyptians and all Copts across the world a very Merry Christmas. Tonight we're going to be shedding light, of course, on Egypt's celebration of the Coptic Christmas, the Coptic Orthodox Egyptians who and other Eastern Orthodox countries who are celebrating their Christmas on the 7th of January. And of course, this year Christmas comes with very different circumstances in light, of course, of the pandemic of COVID-19 spread, and then unfortunately many countries have shut down, and the mass celebrations are not taking place as usual due to the precautionary measures and for the safety of the public. But of course that doesn't mean that people are not celebrating, and we will always be wishing them a very Merry Christmas. We're also going to be throughout this episode shedding light on one of the fabrics of the Egyptians and seeing how they sort of integrate with each other and the support and the unity of the society, and of course the latest developments that have been taking place. And so much has been going on in Egypt, but yet the unity, solidarity and the awareness of the Egyptian nation in general has always been doing an outstanding performance and has always been recalled outside and abroad as well. So we're going to be talking much more about this in this episode. But let's go out for the first report. And without an audience, Pope Tawadros II is holding and heading the Christmas Mass at Wadi Al Natron. Let's take a look.
Begins on Wednesday at 8:45 p.m. at the Church of the Transfiguration in Logos Center at the Papal of Saint Bishoy Monastery in Wadi Al Natron, located in El Beheira Governorate. However, this year's celebration is without an audience due to precautionary measures against the outbreak of the coronavirus. Due to the pandemic, Egypt's Coptic Orthodox Church decided to suspend all mass services in Cairo and Alexandria, as well as Sunday's school services and church meetings. The church announced that Pope Tawadros, the Pope of Alexandria and Patriarch of St. Mark, will preside over Christmas Mass and broadcast on live television. The 2021 Mass will be broadcast live on a number of TV channels.
ليلة عيد ليلة عيد الليلة ليلة عيد زينة وناس صوت جراس عم بترن بعيد ليلة عيد ليلة عيد الليلة ليلة عيد صوت ولادة يا بجداد وبكرة بحب جديد
عم يتلاقى الأصحاب بيدي خلف الباب في شجرة بالدار ويدور ولاد صغار والشجرة صارت عيد والعيد سوارة بإيد والإيد تعلق عالشجرة غني وعناقيد
ليلة عيد ليلة عيد الليلة ليلة عيد زينة وناس صوت جراس عم بترن بعيد ليلة عيد ليلة عيد الليلة ليلة عيد صوت ولادة يا بجداد وبكرة بحب جديد
يا مرة كلها بيوت تلمع مثل الياقوت كيف جبتي عالدار تلج شرايط وقمار مين اللي جاي بعيد عم بيرش مواعيد يدق بواب الناس ويمشي والخير علينا يزيد
دقي دقي يا أجراس النهاردة عيد يا صاجانا في أرضنا وخلى القلب سعيد دقي دقي يا أجراس النهاردة عيد يا صاجانا في أرضنا وخلى القلب سعيد
استدمك بالسماء ضحى بالغناء جي عالأرض فقير علشان بيحبنا كل ألمنا كل أفرحنا هو حاسس بيها في كل لحظة في عمرنا
دقي دقي يا أجراس النهاردة عيد يا صاجانا في أرضنا وخلى القلب سعيد دقي دقي يا أجراس النهاردة عيد يا صاجانا في أرضنا وخلى القلب سعيد.
Welcome back again. You're still watching us here on The Daily Debate, and we're very delighted to have joining us over the phone our dear friend, Madam Viviane Morros, political analyst. Thank you very much for joining us, and Merry Christmas.
Thank you. It's my great pleasure to be with you from London to Egypt on Christmas Day.
Yes, of course. We've missed you so much here in Egypt. Hope you see you soon. Madam Viviane, let's start off by talking about President Abdel Fattah el-Sisi's greetings to the Egyptian expats on the occasion of the new year, and wishing them, of course, constant success, and that 2021 will be bearing fulfillment of dreams and more developments, growth and prosperity for Egyptians wherever they are. Now, how do you read this gesture from the president, and what does that signify and reflect, in your opinion?
First of all, it's a great thing that he's considering all the expats, all the Egyptian expats all over the world, and it comes direct to our heart, how he cares about every Egyptian, whether in Egypt or abroad. It's a great gesture of love, of wideness of spirit and wideness of heart, how he cares about every Egyptian and how we feel and how we miss Egypt at these moments and at this time, especially with this corona and all that. And it's so comforting to have a president thinking of his population to that extent, taking some of his time to think about expats as well, on top of all what he has on his agenda. He is a very noble man and a great president. We're so lucky to have President Sisi. Really, for us, it's a great blessing.
Madam Viviane, now also you're living currently at the UK, and you're also responsible for the Egyptian expats in the UK. If you can tell us more about the Egyptian expats and how they're celebrating Christmas, and of course we know that the UK's got 100% lockdown due to the discovery of the variant of COVID-19. So how's it going over there with them, and how are they coping and cooperating to ensure that their needs are being met and that their safety is ensured?
First of all, we know that we are the migrating population of Egyptian population migrating abroad, especially in the UK, is a very large population, and a very large Christian population as well. So we are very keen on keeping our habits and our traditions, like all the other Egyptians, all the Egyptians actually, but especially because we have to go to church, we have to learn all the ritual of our Mass, which is a very special Mass, different to any Mass in the world. So we kept all our traditions to be to go to the church, to know the ritual of the church, to know the Coptic language that goes on with the church, with the Mass and everything. But unfortunately, of course, we know that this year is such an exceptional year, so we don't have the pleasure of going to the church this year because there is a very limited number on this very strict lockdown. No one can approach even approach the church without a special permission for very limited persons, and it doesn't exceed 10 persons. So we are happy to follow the rules, but we are happy to keep our traditions that we kept for 2020 years and even more, because we keep our old Egyptian traditions with us that goes with every Egyptian abroad, whether Christian or Muslim. We all keep our tradition in the way we eat, the way we dress, the way we talk, our culture, our level of knowledge, and all our qualities are shown up as Egyptians. We show up in a society with all our culture and all what we gain through the years. So we cope, and we try to do the best. Of course, there is a lockdown as well with the families, so we do some Zoom celebrations together. The food we distribute, I cook and I give my children, of course, the traditional meals, and that's it. We try and take the best out of it and say the best will come.
Of course,
hopefully.
The best hopefully will come, and we are wishing you all and your family and all the Egyptian Copts living in the UK a very Merry Christmas as well, Madam Viviane. Now, no one can deny the eminence of Pope Tawadros' great religious and national role throughout the past couple of years. His statements when Egypt was facing a lot of challenges on several and various levels. If you would brief us, please, on the role of His Eminence, what he has been doing or playing along with the government in keeping and ensuring the solidarity of the Egyptian nation as a whole.
We know, of course, that Egypt, because of our such a precious history, precious civilization, and precious strategic location, and all our values that are really very specific to our Egypt, we are targeted by so many people who are targeting our country just to destroy it and to take it over. And of course, one of the easiest weapons now is religion and creating problems between Christian and Muslim, which Pope Tawadros on his own, he's been approached by a lot of countries to provoke him to say that we have problems. He says we don't have problems, and we do not have problems. Those who create problems are just maybe limited, and they're targeted, and they're sponsored by other people from abroad. But Pope Tawadros has been supporting President Sisi because he knows that he spends a lot of effort for the national unity, and he can only go along with him and support his initiative in uniting all the Egyptians under one man, and of course all the Muslims and all the Christians should be together, one hand, to fight any trials of separating us. You know, I myself compare Egyptians like a big puzzle that when you put the pieces together, no one can move it anymore. That's what we are. We are puzzles that are part of one big puzzle that no one can dismantle it or destroy it, because we're so strongly together. We love our country, we love our president, we love our pope, we love our Sheikh Tayyib, and we love our religion, we love our land. We'll all take it as far as it goes to keep our country solid, and no one can invade us. That's
yes.
for sure.
Back in 2013, and maybe we also aired that a couple of moments ago, there was a very important statement during the 2013 celebration, mass celebration of Christmas by Pope Tawadros II, where he said that a country without churches is better than churches without a country. Now, in a clear gesture of defiance, of course, against the terrorist actions against Egypt, today peace and security has prevailed all over the country. How does that reflect on Pope's words and the determination of every single person in this country, whether they are the general public or the government or even religious leaders, in preserving this unity and maintaining this peace and stability and security?
You see, as I told you, we love each other so much. We've been through a lot all together. And the fact that we are all surrounding the night, we all live really very closely to each other. We're not scattered in agglomerations that put us away from each other. We have our daily life in a building of 10 stories. We have maybe 3 Christian families and 8 Muslim families, another one. You have equally so many families. So we live together. We cannot be separated. And our unity, our bond is such a strong bond that no one... Look at the latest decision that was taken by Pope Tawadros and Sheikh Tayyib, that to direct all the money that was designated for building churches and mosques to fight Corona, just lately, a few weeks ago. So that is a great gesture from both sides equally. So that shows that we think in the same way, heading with on our mind that Egypt is first. We all should stay loving our country, devoting everything for the longevity of this country that's been going on for 7,000 years, 2,000 years Christianity, 1,400 years for Islam. It doesn't matter. We're all heading along to a better future and a better Egypt with the unity. And we see our president. There isn't a single feast that he didn't go and visit the Pope inside the church in the middle of the Mass, and everybody was so happy. And today, because of COVID, he did his speech remotely with Pope Tawadros through the TV. So he kept the tradition, the love. He's demonstrating love to everybody. He's care about everybody in every way, either in person or by phone, or every gesture and everything he does, and the Pope with him, and the Sheikh Tayyib as well with him.
Yes, Madam Vivian, can we say that a close relationship between Egypt's foreign policy and national security has been underlined ever since President Abdel Fattah el-Sisi assumed office? And would you elaborate on that, and how do you view the connection between them?
Of course. Well, we've seen since President Sisi took office, of course, there has always been foreign policy, but he's been concentrating on some of the neglected areas of the foreign policy, of the foreign Egyptian policy. He got directed to the African policy, the African relations. He reinforced the Khalid relations with Egypt. He is trying to help every country without stepping on their identity, without stepping on their independence. Whoever wants to help, he can help. But he doesn't injure the privacy of any country. As he always say, we are a country, we do not invade anyone, we want everyone to be in peace, and he acts in the hope of peace all around him. That's why he is building a lot in Egypt to improve the situation of infrastructure, because any improvement in any country comes first through infrastructure and connectivity and communication, and through that he created a lot of jobs for the youth, a lot of interaction with the products that we import from a lot of countries, improving the trade relations with so many countries, improving relation with Africa, trying to create a train between Africa, between the north and the south of Africa, through a lot of organization and through the insisting. We see as well when President Sisi took office presidency of the African Unity, the amount of youth promotion that he did for all the African youth. He invited them all to see, so every youth around the world discuss problems that they can see and feel in person, rather than hear stories that are not true. He's been developing a lot of human interaction, either through the foreign policy, through the relations. He concentrated a lot on human interchange, which is the best way to solve any problem. Because when you hear things, you don't live the experience and you're not in contact with the real thing. It's not the same effect of solving any problem. So he's opting. He is a president englobed in a lot of humanity and a lot of care in all his actions. He gives a lot to all his surroundings, whether good or bad, because even the bad people, he treats them well. That's one of his mystery and qualities, that's not easy for everyone. Let's not say president, but he is like that. I feel he is so blessed with so many qualities that serve humanity, and we're so lucky to have him, because he's taking Egypt to another direction. When we think how was Egypt 10 years ago and how is Egypt now, compare it at all levels, whether work level, even during the coronavirus crisis, we are one of the countries that has best the coronavirus crisis, despite everything and despite the fact that we have a lot of positive people. But we are heading into a herd immunity that all the countries of the world are looking to have, and they cannot fulfill and achieve as we have achieved. Some people are blessed with that, and I think our president is blessed by God to certain things that he is doing, because you cannot imagine one person who did more than 2,000 projects in a country.
That's
that
true.
He follows himself. He goes and follows how the roads are done. He goes to African countries. He invites African presidents here. He have breakfast. He can go here and there. I don't know when he can even rest. So he does everything for not only our population, for the peace of the world, for the better living of all Egyptians everywhere in the world.
Yes, very well. Madam Viviane Moros, political analyst, thank you very much for joining us here on the Daily Debate. Once again, I'd like to wish you and your family a very Merry Christmas, and I hope I'll see you soon here in Cairo. We'll be back right after this report. Please stay tuned.
The journey of the Holy Family's route consists of 25 stops, meaning that the total length of the route is almost 3,500 kilometers. It crossed various regions in Egypt, such as Sinai, El Minya, Cairo, and Asyut. That is why the Tourism and Antiquities Ministry initiated various projects for developing and upgrading the several stops of the journey of the Holy Family's route, including churches, sites, and chapels. In this respect, a huge number of churches have been restored, such as St. Sergius, St. Bacchus Church, as well as Virgin Mary's Tree and Spring of Water in Cairo, and the Church of the Blessed Virgin Mary and Martyr Abanub in El Gharbiya, alongside upgrading the holy and religious sites in Wadi al-Natrun in El Bihira. There are other projects in this regard as well, such as paving the roads to the center of religions in Cairo, restoring the Maadi Church, and establishing rest spots for tourists and visitors nearby the site in Cairo. Things are the same in other governorates. This is made clear through founding gift shops, gardens and cafes near Kafr al-Sheikh's church in Kafr al-Sheikh, and securing the main roads that lead to the touristic and religious sites in El Minya. On the other hand, the ministry prepared all required files and documentation for enlisting the journey of the Holy Family's route stops on the UNESCO World Heritage List. This project carries various benefits, such as developing many sites at the same time in Delta and Upper Egypt. It will help increase the number of visitors to those sites by encouraging visitors to follow this spiritual journey. Motivating tourists to spend more time in Egypt is one of the project's goals, too, as it will direct the visitors to check various local parts in the country. Furthermore, this project is aimed at strengthening the country's position as a center for religions and cultures.
Welcome back again. You're still watching us here on The Daily Debate, and I'm very delighted also to have joining me over the phone Dr. Sharif Amir, Professor of International Law. Good evening and Merry Christmas, Dr. Amir.
Good evening and Merry Christmas to all of Egypt.
Now, the state's main goal here is to preserve the essence of religion, Dr. Sharif, as well as make young people be aware of the volume of challenges that is being faced by Egypt and the risk that the entire state faces. So if we will be talking about your opinion, how can professors, teachers and scholars, as well as different institutions, play a vital role in not just collaborating and cooperating, but also setting out a certain agenda to be able to guide these different younger generations across the nation?
Well, we have seen the previous years that Egypt's enemies tried always to fabricate and create civil strife between Copts and Muslims in Egypt and divide the people, because it is known that Egypt is a solid country with one spirit. It's the country who fought all the wars. The Copts and Muslims fell the same blood, and this was the spirit of Egypt, the source of Egypt. So the enemies of Egypt started to work out about how to divide these groups, how to divide Egypt and create this division. So unfortunately, some intellectuals at a certain time were infiltrated and paid by other countries to put this poison in the body of the education and some preaching, and unfortunately we have seen in the 1990s the groups or the terrorist groups who started attacking the Christians and the police, and there was this kind of new bad spirit in Egypt that Egypt never saw before. So I think now things have changed after the revolution of 2013. And the presidency of President Abdel Fattah al-Sisi is very clear about that we have no other choice but to be united and to be one. And I think that the professors, the intellectuals, and all the preachers know that if this boat will sink, it will sink with everyone on it. It won't spare anyone. Let's take it, for instance, now, for example, this pandemic, COVID-19. All of us are suffering from the same threat as all of us were suffering the same terrorism. So I think that we have one goal: to be united.
Dr. Sharif, speaking of terrorism and extremism, and going back specifically to 2017, where President Abdel Fattah al-Sisi had established a council called the National Council for Combating Terrorism and Extremism. The members of this council include the Grand Imam of Al-Azhar, the Patriarch of the Coptic Church, the Defense Minister and the Interior Minister, as well as 13 members of the public. Let's talk more about the role of this council and what has it achieved on concrete ground, from your opinion, since its establishment back in 2017?
Well, it has a specific goal that the national security of Egypt would be a red line that no one would dare to cross. And this would not be only through security and force. No, it would be done by the Coptic Church, by the Al-Azhar, by the intellectuals, by our prestigious army. It's teamwork about a nation, about unified nation. So since that time, I think that many of the terrorist attacks against many churches, I think that the Egyptian people showed one spirit. They showed that we are one people, Muslims defending the churches, and everyone was ready to pay a heavy price in order to preserve Egypt's security. This council, when President Abdel Fattah al-Sisi created it, it was a real message to the entire world that Egypt is working as one nation, one people, one goal, and one future. And that's why, let's say, unfortunately, when all these terrorist attacks took place, fortunately, on the other hand, the people of Egypt never started to doubt about the unity, never started to doubt about the future. We knew from the first day of the revolution of 2013 and the first day that the people of Egypt elected President Abdel Fattah al-Sisi that our enemies will play this card immediately. We have seen the burned churches by the Muslim Brotherhood during the revolution, and how they wanted to stir all the hatred in the country. We have seen the same thing when the 21 Copts were executed, the martyrs in Libya, and how Egypt immediately our armed forces replied with this leather force to say there is no difference between all the Egyptians. So I think that it was a real show of unity to the whole world. If you will think one day that you will hurt the Christians in Egypt and that this will cause a division within Egypt, you are wrong, because this nation is built upon one spirit, one goal, and we all know that one day Egypt, as President Abdel Fattah al-Sisi said, it will be the light for all the nations, for the civilization and human and human rights. And this is what we are willing to do. It's through ethics, through religion, through our tradition. We would not abolish anything of these principles. We are people who believe in God, and we know that our system is working upon that. And President Abdel Fattah al-Sisi is a believer, someone who knows that we have to cling to our tradition and our faith.
Of course, Dr. Sharif, the Egyptian family house also has a mission which bears the peace and the tolerance that has been promoted by religions. Now, work never stopped, of course, at the Egyptian family house. Several branches of it has actually also been established in various governorates. Would you tell us more about the Egypt's family house? How do you view it? And now that it's having branches in various governorates, how does that reflect its importance and the awareness of people realizing its existence?
Well, let me speak frankly. Of course, after decades of extremism since the 1970s, till the arrival of the Muslim Brotherhood when they stole the revolution in 2011, So Egypt lived in an atmosphere was very, very weird that we never witnessed before. So when we create such a body, let's not wait for immediate results. It will take time. We all know that the villages in Egypt need some education about these processes. We know that this body acts according to a comprehensive dialogue between the church and Al-Azhar, between the people of Egypt in the villages also. This will take time. It won't happen in a day or a year. It will take time because, unfortunately, decades of this mentality existed. Let's see, for example, a few days ago, one of the people said on the media that we should not wish Merry Christmas. So I think that this is very weird for all the Egyptians to hear this now. And all the Muslims in Egypt wished Merry Christmas to their brothers, the Copts. So I think that this body has work to do, is to tell these hate preachers, stop it, you are harming Egypt, and we have to work together not to make this difference. It will harm all of us. And if you don't believe it, we're not saying some empty words. Unfortunately, look at Libya, look at Syria, look at Iraq, look at Yemen. They're just across the border. We have seen what happened there. And let me share with you an experience that I had when I lived in France. Someone in our field of research into geopolitics told me, you know why Egypt, and he was a French, and he said Egypt is the only country with solid rock in this region. He told me because it was unfortunately easy to destroy states like Iraq, Syria, and Libya, where there is sectarian division, whereas all the ethnic